All right, hello and welcome back to another wee bit different video. Today's video, this is a video I did not think I would make this season, especially since I was hyping Trae Young up this season. And first of all, let's just get to the point of the video. The Atlanta Hawks are open to trading Trae Young. And to be honest with you, based how the season has gone, that's not surprising. But my reasoning as to why that's surprising is very simple. If you see me talk about the Atlanta Hawks, I've been very high on some of the players on the roster. Alexander Walker, I've talked about a lot. I was very high on this pickup. A big reason why I was, a fan of Atlanta this season to, make progress and do better and make strides to be an actual competitive team. Dyson Daniels obviously had a successful season last year. I was very high on him as well. Trae Young, obviously, I made an entire film review talking about his game, especially on the offense. Pretty much all about the offense because we already know he's one of the worst defenders. But what made me more confident in just this ability of the team, Jalen Johnson was someone who I didn't think he'd be this good. If you guys have been following the Atlanta Hawks, Jalen Johnson has just been an absolute star, heading to be a superstar, playing like a superstar, to be honest with you. He's just been insanely good this season. Really good all-around player, scoring, rebounding. He does get a lot of assists as well. It's just one of those things to where we're witnessing Atlanta develop their franchise player, and it's Jalen Johnson. It's not Trae Young, it's Jalen Johnson. Zachary Rissashier, I talked about a lot because he was the first overall pick. Was it 2 years ago now? And to me, he was one of those players who you were looking at to make the next step into his career and just being a bigger, better player. And he really hasn't done that this season. Austin Newell was a first-round pick this season. I talked a lot about Kristaps Porzingis being added to this team, but he hasn't played much. But why hasn't it worked out? Despite players having individual success, why hasn't it worked out? Well, for one, injuries. Players have been in and out of the lineup, especially Trae Young. But here's the problem with Trae Young. His defense is so bad, it's not helping an already bad defensive team. You go to the defensive rating of the Hawks, they're 19th. They haven't even had Trae Young for the majority of the season thus far, but they just haven't had things go well defensively. Dyson Daniels, as good as a defender he is, major liability on offense. You talk about the points per game, the offense is good. The pace is great. Shooting, good. I mean, look at this. Like, seriously, let me zoom in. Editor means to zoom in. Points per game, 10th. Pace, 4th. Field goal percentage, 7th. 3-point field goal, 7th. 3-point field goal percentage, 5th. Those are all really good stats, but then what's killing them is everything on the defensive end and the lack of physicality for this team. Rebounds, 25th, not physical enough. Offensive rebounds, 27th, not physical enough. Assists, again, everything on that offensive side of things, they don't lack firepower, but my God, when it comes to, again, this team being physical, it just hasn't been there. Turnovers are 15th, that's fine. But again, defensive rating 19th, and the rebounds are just killing them. And so when Trae Young was out with the MCL sprain, him coming back, you're thinking, okay, this team's going to be better. They're 0-5 with him. Young returned to Atlanta's lineup in December after missing 22 contests with a sprained right MCL. Since his return, Atlanta is 0-5 with him in the lineup. Now, he's not playing bad since his return. I'm not going to say he's playing good. He's had some good games. Ultimately, he's on a minute restriction. But what's absolutely killing this team is just a lack of physicality. And you add Trae Young to a mix of that. Trae Young does not help with the rebounding. Trae Young does not help with physicality. Trae Young does not help with defense, period. He's probably the worst defender in the league. I'm not even joking. It's really, really bad. He doesn't contest any shots. His size just is not great. His speed, the defensive end, his lateral quickness is not great. I mean, I don't blame for Atlanta not extending him this offseason. There were so many question marks surrounding the team if they were going to pull it together or not. And I don't blame Trae Young for wanting more because at his peak, he can be really, really special. He can be really good. He can average 20 and 10. And then you go to the NBA standings and you see what's going on in the East. This is the season to do, some damage. Celtics and Pacers, they're out of it, which leaves the Knicks, who made the Eastern Conference Finals, as the only proven team in the playoffs to, get past the first 2 rounds. Well, Pistons are making some noise. Knicks are making some noise. Celtics have come back, to fight for it. But, the rest of these teams are all improving. And then you have the Hawks who are they made some acquisitions in the offseason. And right now they're 7 losses in a row. And don't even get me wrong. Today, right now they're playing. Trae Young's out and they're up 15. Right now they're up 15 with Trae Young out. So it's just not a good look, to be honest with you. It's not a good look at all because Trae Young's supposed to be going into the season the best player. At this point, you want to look at what Jalen Johnson's doing, and it's like, oh, Jalen Johnson's the best player. In 23 points per game, 10 rebounds, 8.4 assists, 52% field goal percentage. He's been just amazing. He lacks some defensive prowess himself, to be honest with you. I would say he needs to make some improvements in that side of the ball, but he's been amazing. It's not, this isn't on him. It's not on Nickeil Alexander-Walker. There's been some disappointments in Dyson Daniel and Zachary Reese-Ashier. I'm not surprised to see the Hawks are open to it. And my biggest thing is, you could argue, man, Trae Young is not a winning player. You could make the argument because of his defense. And I would say, I would agree with you under most situations. But there's some teams who I truly believe could hide his defense. Now, do I think these teams are going to trade for him? No. Let me give you an example. I believe the Spurs could hide Trae Young's defense. Why? Because of Wembanyama and everyone else being able to have quick rotations. Again, Spurs are not trading for Trae Young. That's not happening. But I believe a defensive team like that could make Trae Young really thrive. Houston Rockets, very physical team. They could use a guy like Trae Young. Are the Houston Rockets trading for Trae Young? No, they are not. So my biggest thing is there's very specific situations where this guy could thrive. Other than that, unless you throw him into a situation where he has a lot of defensive help, there's going to be problems. And these problems, I'm aware of them heading into the season. I truly just believed, Dyson Daniels and Reese-Ashier would pan out more than they have. I truly believed Porzingis would be better and more available than he has been. And then obviously Trae Young himself hasn't been available, but let's say they do trade him. I mean, where realistically is he going to go? Kings better, I swear to God, Kings better not trade for him. That would be a disaster. But a lot of these teams, I mean, where could Trae Young go? Now, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. Whether Trae Young gets traded or he becomes a free agent, he could go to the right team and he could make the Hawks look dumb. Because there is a team out there, whether, again, it's through free agency or trade, where he can be successful because he's just so talented offensively with the ability to move the ball, rack up tons of assists, get tons of guys involved, have a really, really strong floater game, a three-point game that's off and on. But more often than not, you just have a guy who's going to be getting you 20 and 10, right? That's his average, when he's right, when he's healthy, when he's not under minute restriction. That's what he's going to be giving you. He's been in the league for 8 years now. It's one of those things to where I think it is time for Atlanta to probably move on. And you have a franchise player in Jalen Johnson. But again, I'm adamant on, in the right scenario, Trae Young can really make, Atlanta look dumb. I think Atlanta would be right anyway to move on and try to salvage whatever they can get back in resources. Again, just because they have a guy. They do. Like, Trae does just not mesh well with Jalen Johnson because Jalen Johnson himself isn't a defensive powerhouse. But you surround Jalen Johnson with better defensive pieces. He's already able to help out a lot with his assists and getting 3-and-D guys the ball. It's just one of those things to me where it's the smarter move, but depending on where Trae Young goes, he could make it look like Atlanta's in the wrong. And I'm just trying to get ahead of the curve now because I think that get ahead of the curve or curve. I don't know. It's one of those. I'm just trying to get ahead of it now, though, because I think depending on where Trae Young goes, he could really thrive. Again, offensive powerhouse. He's a closer as well. Guy who can legitimately hit clutch shot after clutch shot. He's called Ice Trae for a reason. It's just one of those things to where you kind of have to wait and see how it pans out because it can pan out somewhere, but it's just so specific, right? It's so very specific. But I'm curious to see what he'll do, what Atlanta will do, because again, if they do trade him, what will they get back? Who's even interested? There's a lot of questions surrounding that area. But again, I personally am of the opinion that one, Trae Young can have success somewhere. I don't think it's Atlanta. I do think Atlanta should look to move forward and to just roll with Jalen Johnson. And again, it's not to diss on Trae Young because I'm a believer. Again, throughout this whole video, I've stated time and time again, he can have some success somewhere. I just don't think it's in Atlanta, honestly. I don't think that they can make it work with the pieces that they have and the way that they play. Let me know what you guys think, though. Happy New Year for those of you that are watching on New Year's Eve or New Year's, or, you know what, even a little bit after. Happy New Year regardless. Hopefully 2026 is a good year. And in terms of basketball, man, it's been a really competitive, good year of basketball thus far. I'm curious to see how things pan out, but I'm also watching Atlanta to see what they do. Because again, if they trade him, and again, it better not be the Kings, because if he goes to the Kings, that he's just gonna die with that franchise. That's just a terrible idea. But who could realistically make it work? The teams that wouldn't really want to even, roll that dice. So we'll see. Let me know what you guys think, though. I greatly appreciate you guys for watching. For the like, subscribe, goes a long way on the channel. As always, this is Ollie Been Different. All we've been different, and we out.